Had no need to fight tonight.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 most underrated guns inside a Call of Duty mobile. Now I just want to give a quick disclaimer that there will probably be differentiations in your top 5 list compared to mine. Now this is probably just due to the fact that it's kind of hard to decide what gun is, better on an underrated list. So the way we're going to be doing it is we're going to be taking a look at each gun, and we're going to be seeing how underrated it is in today's meta. In comparison to how good that gun actually stands in the meta. And the larger the gap, then the lower it will be on the list. However, the closer the gap, then the higher it will be on the list. Hopefully you guys sort of get a grasp of what I'm saying. It's kind of hard to explain, but you guys just watch the video and you'll see what I mean. Just before we get into the video, make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, and also make sure to go ahead and join my Discord server. I'll be linking that in the pinned comment down below. Also, the honorable mention for this video is going to be the QXR. Now, the QXR is probably one of the better guns on this list. However, it just isn't as underrated as the other guns. So that's why it's going to be at the number 6 spot, or the honorable mention. Just because the gap between its, how underrated it is and how good it actually is actually marginally larger than the other guns. But yeah, let's just get into the video. Alright, so coming in at the number 5 spot, we have the AGR. Now, the AGR is absolutely insane with that 60 round magazine, and it looks really good, especially with the Damascus camo, as you guys can see on screen right now. Now, the AGR has been underrated for quite a while now. I think I did put the AGR in my last top 5 underrated guns video, and I still think it is really underrated. However, I don't think it is that good. Now, it is obviously usable, and you can use this against people in ranked, but it's not going to be defeating, Phoenix at close range. It's not going to be defeating PP-19 Bisons at medium range, and it's certainly not going to be defending against anything like the Hulk or anything at any ranges. So that's why I'm going to be putting this gun at the number 5 spot, just because it's underrated. Doesn't mean it's actually that good of a gun. But obviously, I do think the AGR can be used. I think that in certain circumstances, this gun can be used really well, especially with that 60 round magazine as an SMG. That can sometimes be really useful. And I don't want to take away from how good this gun actually is. It might sound a little bit negative the way I'm speaking about it, but I'm just being a little bit harsh because a lot of the guns in today's meta are pretty balanced, and a lot of them are really good. So yeah, anyways, that's going to be the AGR at the number 5 spot. Alright, so at the number 4 spot, we have the KRM. Now, I know all you Garena players watching this video like, how is a KRM an underrated gun? Well, over here in Global, the version that I play, shotguns are rarely used. And recently, there's been a lot of hype around the HSO, but there's been barely any recognition to the KRM. And, well, mostly in just shotguns in general. People just haven't been using shotguns in a while. I think after the shotgun nerf a lot of seasons ago. And to be frank, shotguns are really good, and especially the KRM. The KRM has really good one-shot potential. It's super great to use. The movement's really great. And overall, I think it's just a really good gun, and it definitely deserves more usage in Global. However, I'm going to be putting it at the number 4 spot, not because it's a really bad gun and it's super underrated. It is underrated, but it just isn't as underrated as some of the other guns on this list. However, I would say that this gun is absolutely phenomenal. So, if we look at the overall sort of meta, get a bit of a mix from Garena and Global, the KRM is not as underrated as some of the other guns on this list. And since this is a top 5 most underrated guns video, I just can't see myself putting the KRM above the number 3 spot. I think a lot of people know about the KRM, but I just think people just sort of choose not to use it. So yeah, that's going to be the KRM at the number 4 spot. Alright, so coming in at the number 3 spot, we have the Man of War. Now, ever since this nerf, and also just like the nerf of all the 3-tap ARs, literally none of the 3-tap ARs, except for the DRH. The DRH is actually still really, really good. None of those ARs are getting much use anymore. And I think it's, although the 3-tap AR meta, I'm going to be honest, it wasn't the most fun meta. But it's kind of sad to see how these guns they've just faded away. And, you know, the Man of War used to be the most broken gun in the game, and now it's in the top 5 most underrated guns video. So I think the damage potential on this gun is still there. The movement is a little bit lacking, especially for today's SMG meta and, you know, the fast-paced LMGs like the Holger. So I think the movement is definitely the biggest downside of this gun. But if we can look past the movement, we can play with it, you know, with a more passive playstyle. Try not to rush into gunfights against Phoenix and stuff. Then the Metal War is actually a really, really great gun. It's got, as I said before, great damage potential. The recoil is not bad at all. You can put on a bunch of attachments for ADS speed, and the recoil is not bad. I'm gonna be honest. The only problem with this gun is the movement. And so yeah, that's why it's gonna be at the number 3 spot. Let me know if you guys think this gun should be higher or lower, because it was really hard picking which spot this gun should be at, so I kind of just put it around the middle, because some people will say this gun's really good, and other people will say it's just straight booty cheeks. So yeah, let me know in the comment section below where you would put the Man of War at on your top 5 most underrated guns list. Coming in at the number 2 spot, we have the RUS. Now, the RUS is without a doubt my favorite gun on this list. I just get so many OG vibes from this gun, man. I've fallen in love with the RUS ever since Season 1, the OG Season 1 of Call of Duty Mobile. And I've used this gun for so many seasons. When I used to scrim back in the day, this was my main go-to scrim gun. So I have a really good relationship with the RUS, and I think that is so underrated for how good this thing actually is. So I used the Man of War, right? I played a couple ranked games with it, and then I used the RUS, and let me tell you guys, it was night and day. The RUS feels so much better. The RUS feels faster, it feels cleaner, it has a better iron sight. The RUS, compared to literally every other gun on this list, it just felt so bloody clean, and I absolutely love it. I haven't used this gun in a while, and oh my god, I'm loving it so much, especially with this max mobility loadout that I had on for this game. But yeah, the thing is that this gun isn't as underrated as the number 1 spot on this gun's list, as crazy as that may seem. So that's why it's going to be at the number 2 spot. But I know you guys are dying to see the number 1 spot, so I'm just going to skip the bullcrap and we'll get to it. Alright, coming in at the number 1 spot, we have the Peacekeeper. This gun is so good, especially for how bloody underrated it is, especially at close ranges. With this loadout that I have on right now, it's crazy. It literally is crazy. You can send up to meta guns. You can send up to meta guns with a Peacekeeper. It's so crazy, and it just isn't used enough. It really isn't. It's criminally underrated. You know, that's what I would say in a video title. It's criminally underrated. You need to use this gun. You need to try it out, especially this loadout. I'll be linking that in the pinned comment down below. But you need to try this gun out just to get a feel of how good this gun is in comparison to how underrated it is. It's crazy. It really is crazy. And I don't know if you guys can see from the gameplay here. The time to kill is really great. The movement's great. The iron sight is a little bit mediocre, but you know, we can look past that. You know, the whole guy's a mediocre iron sight anyways. But yeah, everything else about this gun, it feels absolutely amazing. Now, I know in the other top 5 most underrated guns video, a couple of you guys commented saying that the Peacekeeper should be higher on the list. So I did a little bit of research this time, and I completely agree now. After seeing those stats, after seeing, you know, all that stuff about it, especially people like Psygnarks and Pato EXE and all that stuff, I've opened my eyes. I can see the potential of the Peacekeeper now, and I don't regret it putting it at the number 1 spot.